In French, as in English, there is something called IPA. It stands for International Phonetic Alphabet. So basically, it helps you knowing how to pronounce the sounds of a language. So even if you don't speak a language, but you know how to read IPA and to pronounce the sounds of IPA, you will be able to read and pronounce this language, even if you have no clue of what you're saying. So some sounds are common between two languages. Luckily, English and French have a lot in common, especially in the consonant sounds. But French also have a few unique sounds that do not exist in English nor in Spanish. In fact, there are 26 letters in the French alphabet, but we make 35 different sounds out of them and their combination. So as they are more similar, let's start with the consonant sounds. So first, we have the sound B, right? B. It's the same one as in English in the words like blue, brother, bold, etc. In French, it is written with a B and sometimes even two Bs. Some examples are bal, beau, bonjour, sabbatique. Second sound is the sound D. D. Again, same one as in English, it is written with a D. We find it in words like doux, which means soft, dent, dent, dentiste, etc. Then we have the sound F. It is the same sound as in feel, freak, fool, etc. In French, it can be written in two different ways with an F, like in fête, party, or football, right? It can also be written with the letters P and H, like in the word pharmacie or photo. Now we have the sound G. G. It is the same sound as in geek or gain, right? There is a specificity to make this sound in French. The vowels A and O, you just need a G and then one of those two vowels. For example, gâteau, gare, golf. If it is followed by the vowels E and I, you will need to add a U in between to make the sound G, like in the words guerre, which means war, guérir, to heal, guider, to guide. Third option to have the sound G is when it is followed by a U. It will then be followed by either an A or Y, and it will become the sound G, G, right? So you can find this sound in the words Guadeloupe or Guyane, which are both French territories. Then we have the sound j, j. It can be written with either a J or a J, right? Usually we use a J to write this sound, like in the words je, jour, or juge, right? Notice in juge, there is also a G that makes the sound j, all right? The G will make this sound either when it is followed by an E or an I. You will find it in words like gestion, genre, gilet, giraffe, etc. Then we have the sound K. It can be written in different ways in French, with a C, with a K, or occasionally with the letters CH. Here are a few examples: carotte, cause, cuisine, campagne, countryside, koala, karaté, archaïque. Next sound, the sound L. L. Right? So it is written with one or two L's. Sometimes they can make the same sound whether there is one L or two L's. Like in my name, for example. Lucille with one L is pronounced the same way as Lucille with two L's. But obviously, it is way better with just one L. Usually, the two L's make the sound Y. Y. Right? That is our next sound. You will find it in words like fille, maquillage, right? Makeup, the first name Camille, or travail, travail. Be careful though with the word gentil, or its feminine form, gentille, which means nice. We do pronounce the y sound when it is feminine, gentille, gentille, but we do not pronounce the L when it is in its masculine form, gentil. All right, gentil. The two L's are not the only letters that can make the sound Y. We can also pronounce this sound with the letters I and Y when they are surrounded by vowels, like in the words yaourt, payer, or hier, for example. Our next consonant sounds are M and N. M, N. We will go through these sounds together because the same rules apply to both. So you will write them with either one or two M's for the sound M and one or two N's for the sound N. Right? Be careful, we only pronounce them M and N when they are followed by a vowel. Right? So here are some examples. Même, which means same. Comme, as. Ami, homme, nous, une, bonne, banane, etc. When they are the last letter of a word or when they are followed by another consonant, for example, a T, a P, or an S, we will not pronounce them as an M or an N, but as a nasal vowel, which we will see later in this video. So then they will sound like un, en, like in the words fin, pain, bon, chant, tente, penser, etc. So we will go through these sounds later. The next sound actually comes from English, so you will have no difficulty pronouncing it. It is the sound ng, right? Ng. You will only find it in words that come from the English language and that are now a part of the French language, like parking, pressing, legging, all right? That kind of words. The next sound's IPA symbol looks a lot like the previous one, but it makes a totally different sound. Ny. Ny. Right? It is written with a G and an N, or with an N and an I. All right? So it sounds exactly the same as the Spanish ñ, right? Ñ. You will find it in words like agneau or panier. Then we have a sound that is common to French and English languages. It's the sound p, p, which will be written with either one or two p's, right? So you will hear it in words like passer or appétit. Then we have a sound that is typically French and with which it is common to struggle for English speaking people. It's the sound R, R, right? So it is written with one or two R's, and you will see it in words like roux or rhume, right? Which means a cold. You will pronounce it differently based on where it is in the word. So if the word starts with the letter R, then you will need to try moving your uvula. That is the thing that is dangling in the back of your mouth where your throat begins. So then your vocal cords will be vibrating. R, R. All right? But then when the R is inside a word, surrounded by other letters, it will pretty much be the same, except that your vocal cords will not move at all. All right? It will sound like if you're about to spit, pretty much. Like in the words tarte, 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 or huître. All right? So either with your uvula at the beginning of a word or in a word. All right? The next sound is the sound s, right, which is common to English and French. The difference in French will be its spelling. So it can be written either with an S, two S's, a C followed by an E or an I, a C with a cédille, or sometimes a T followed by an I. All right? So to make the sound S, if there is only one S, it needs to be at the beginning of the word. All right? So like in ça or super. All right? The two S's will always make the sound S. So it's easy. Like in the word assurer. It is in the word. It's not at the beginning or at the end. It's in the word. We will also make the sound S when the C is followed by an E or an I, like in the word se, si, right? Or when the C has a cédille, right? So you will find both in the expression comme si, comme ça. Comme si, comme ça. The last possibility to make the sound S is in words like option, option, where the T is followed by an I. Then we have the sound sh, right? Sh. It is the exact same one as you have in English in the word shampoo, right? Shampoo. You will find it in its equivalent in French, shampoing, shampoing, but also in words like chou or schéma, where they are spelled with a CH or an SCH. All right. So make sure not to pronounce them the English way with a T sound before it. It's not ch, like chip, right? It's not like this. It is just sh, right? Chou, schéma, shampoing, champagne, all right? Sh. We were just talking about the T sound. So we do have the T in French as well. It will be written with one or two T's, either at the beginning or in the middle of a word, right? So we do not usually pronounce them when they are the last letter of a word. We do have some exceptions, but it's pretty rare. So here are a few examples. Tu, te, toi, right, which means roof. So notice the first T in tu or toi is pronounced, but not the one at the end of the word. Next sound is V. V. So it is the same one as in English in vehicle or violence, all right? So it will always be spelled with a V or a W in words like vous, voiture, wagon. Last consonant sound is Z, right? So it can be spelled either with a Z or with an S followed by an E or an A at the end of the word, like in rose, base, utiliser, analyse, partisan. All right. So a Z will sound Z no matter where it is in the word. All right. Like zéro, azur, ozone, etc. So that's it for the consonant sounds. We do have a couple of semi-vowel sounds. So the sound y, like in fille, famille, payer, or travail that we saw earlier, is a part of them. It is a part of the semi-vowel sounds. There is also the sound w, w. All right. So you will find it in words coming from the English language, so which are spelled with a W, like web, right? Web. Or in French words with an O followed by a U, an I, or a Y. All right. So OU, OI, OY. In words like oui, loi, moyen. The last semi-vowel sound is oui, oui, oui. All right, so it sounds a bit like U and a bit like wa, all right, the W sound, but it's not. It's in the middle of this. All right, so you will find it in the word huit, for example, all right, the number 8, huit, huit. Now it's time to go over the vowel sounds. So the easiest one is the sound A, which is similar to the A sound in apple, right? A. It will always be written with an A, and the presence of an accent aigu or accent circonflexe, it will not change its pronunciation at all. All right, so check out the examples. Il a, right? He has. Il a, pat, pat, chat. Then you have the sound e. E. So it is one of the sounds the letter E can make. Usually it will be pronounced E when the E has an accent aigu, right? E. Or when the E is followed by a Z or an R at the end of a word. Clé, chez, or aller. D'accord? But the letter E can also be pronounced E. E. Okay? So it can be written with an E followed by a T or an S, like in lettre, est, est, les, mais. It can also be an E with an accent grave or accent circonflexe, right? Like in the words like mère or fête. It can also be written with the letters A and I, with or without an accent, like in the words fête or maître. The letter E can also be pronounced like in the alphabet E, E. Then the letter will be either by itself, right, not followed by another letter, like in je, le, right? Or it will be in the middle of a word and not followed by another consonant letter in the same syllable. All right? So, like, for example, in the words petit, peser, to weight, or dangereux. D'accord? Unfortunately, we are not done yet with the letter E, soon though. So when the letter E is associated with the letter U, or if there is an O and then EU, so EU or OEU, it can make the sound E or E. D'accord? E, 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 E. Depending on the next sound. All right? So we will pronounce EU or OEU, E, d'accord? E, if there is no consonant sound following. All right? And we will pronounce EU or OEU, E, when there is a consonant sound following. All right? So listen to these examples. So for the sound E, d'accord? E, with no consonant following, peu, peu, ce, que. All right? And for the sound with a consonant sound that follows, peur, seul, sœur, cœur. All right? If the U has an accent circonflexe, it doesn't change the pronunciation rule at all. All right? So, E, 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 E. We are finally done with the different pronunciation of E. The next one is not the English letter E, but the sound E. All right, so the French I in the alphabet. So you will hear this sound in words that have an I with or without an accent, or in words that have an Y. All right, so like in these examples, il, si, il, island, il y a, etc. Next sound is the sound O, all right, O, which is similar to the one in the English sentence, oh my God, right? O, O. It can be written in different ways. So either an O, all right, just by itself. It can be also an O with an accent circonflexe. It can also be the letters AU or the letters EAU. All right, so here are a few examples. Do, the back, do. Hôtel, au, top, or bureau. The letter O can also be pronounced O. O. All right, so kind of a mix between O and A. O. O. So it is the same sound as the English word top. All right, top. O. All right, this sound. O. The O will be pronounced O when it is followed by a consonant sound in the same syllable. All right, like in the words homme, carotte, or prof. All right, professeur, prof. Then, when the letter O is associated with the letter U, it makes the sound U. U. All right? It will always be written with these two letters, O and U. All right? U may have an accent circonflexe sometimes, but it does not change its pronunciation. So here are a few examples. Vous, vous, nous, etc. And then we have the letter U by itself. So it will make the same sound as its letter in the French alphabet. U. U. All right, so remember the pronunciation. The tongue is flat against your palate, and the tip of your tongue is going to be right behind your bottom front teeth. All right? Then you're going to close your lips a little bit and make a circle. U. U. Remember that everything in your mouth is pretty much set up the same way as if you were about to whistle. All right? U. U. All right? So you just close your lips a little bit more to whistle, but otherwise nothing changes, nothing moves in your mouth. All right? U. U. If the U has an accent circonflexe or an accent grave, it does not change its pronunciation. All right? Tu, sur, mûr, wall, or mûr, ripe, mature. Right? Mûr, mûr. Same pronunciation. We are almost done with the French sounds. Yay! There are only 3 sounds left, but they are also the most typical French sounds that exist. And they can be a bit hard sometimes. So they are nasal sound, all right? So they come from your nose. So basically, when you pronounce them, if you have a cold, so you cannot breathe through your nose, or if you close your nose like this, all right, you are not going to sound the same, all right, using these sounds. So these sounds are the sounds un, all right? Hear the difference without my nose. Un, all right? It doesn't sound the same at all. Un, all. So un, d'accord? Un, like the number 1, un, can be written in many different ways. Sorry about this. So it can be written I-N, I-M, A-I-N, A-I-M, E-I-N, E-I-M, Y-N, Y-M, U-N, U-M, or sometimes E-N when they follow the letter I. All right, so all these letters are pronounced the same way. So here are some examples. Vin, timbre, stamp. Main, din, plein, Reims. All right, it's a French city. Lynx, teint, brun, parfum, d'accord, parfum, or chien. The sound on can be written with the letters O and M or O and M. All right. So when they are the last letter of a word or when they are followed by another consonant at the end of the word, for example, a T, a P, an S, all right, we will not pronounce them as an N or an M, all right, but as the sound on. So, for example, in the words like mentons or the verb changeons, d'accord? Nous changeons, nous mangeons, nous voyageons, all right? On. Then the same thing happens with the sound on. On. So it can be written A-N, A-M, E-N, or E-M, all right? And same when they are the last letters of a word or when they are followed by another consonant, we will not pronounce them as an M and N, but as the sound en. All right, like paysan, charmant, pensant, embêtant. All right? So that's it. These were the sounds that you can make with the French alphabet and that you need to master to be able to read and pronounce French properly. I hope this could help you, and let me know if you have any questions about it. See you in class!